Welcome to Rare Breed Brotherhood. When you cannot be controlled, you automatically become a threat. Being a Sigma male is not about being mysterious for attention or acting detached to look cool. It is about walking through life with a kind of independence that most people secretly crave, but few can handle. You don't move with the crowd, not because you think you're better, but because you've seen how easily the crowd gets lost. That quiet strength you carry, your refusal to fake smiles, chase approval, or explain yourself, is exactly what puts a target on your back. People often mistake your calm for arrogance, your silence for judgment, and your distance for disinterest. They do not understand that you are not avoiding people. You are protecting your peace. You don't want control, you just want freedom. Yet that freedom threatens those who build their self-worth around being followed, praised, or needed. The truth is, you're not targeted because you are doing something wrong. You're targeted because your existence breaks unspoken rules. You move differently. You see through illusions. You refuse to play roles that others depend on to feel powerful. And for that, some people will try to misunderstand or undermine you. But that's what makes you a Sigma male. You don't fight for validation. You walk away with quiet certainty. You're built for solitude, clarity, and depth. So stay to the end of this video, because we're about to uncover the real reasons why Sigma males are targeted, and why it's actually a sign of strength, not weakness. Let's dive in deeper, brothers. Number 1. They refuse to bow to social hierarchies. Most people live their lives climbing invisible ladders they never questioned. These ladders exist everywhere, at work, in friendships, in families, even online. Everyone is trying to get a higher spot, to look more important, to be seen as the one above. It's a constant, silent competition that never really ends. But Sigma males, they step off that ladder completely. They don't climb it. They don't bow to it. They don't even pretend to care about it. A Sigma male walks his own path, and that path doesn't need an audience or applause. He's not driven by titles, status, or the opinions of others. When everyone else is busy fighting for a place in the spotlight, he's the one sitting in the shadows building something real. That's what unsettles people. Because when someone refuses to play the same game, it exposes how meaningless the game really is. You see, hierarchies are built on control. Someone at the top and someone beneath. But when a Sigma male walks in, that structure doesn't work anymore. He doesn't seek approval from those above him, and he doesn't expect submission from those below. He treats everyone as equals, but he answers only to himself. And that kind of mindset breaks the unspoken social script. People who built their identity around being superior or admired find it hard to handle someone who simply doesn't care about rank. To them, the Sigma's calm independence feels like defiance. But to the Sigma, it's just self-respect. The truth is, this refusal to bow is not arrogance. It's clarity. Sigma males have realized that true power doesn't come from being above anyone. It comes from being unshakably yourself, no matter who's watching. And that kind of quiet freedom is what makes them stand out, even when they never ask to be noticed. When a man refuses to kneel before the system starts to tremble. That's the Sigma way. Number 2, they carry a silent aura of truth. There is something quietly powerful about a Sigma male's presence. You can't always explain it, but you can feel it. It's the kind of energy that makes people watch what they say, straighten their words, and second-guess their stories. That's because Sigma males carry something rare in today's world, a silent aura of truth. They don't even have to speak for it to be felt. It's written in their eyes, their calm posture, and their unshakable sense of self. People who lie or manipulate others often rely on confusion and charm. But with Sigma males, those tricks fall flat. Their energy is grounded and alert, like someone who can see straight through the fog. They don't react to words, they observe patterns. They catch the small pauses, the nervous shifts, the tiny cracks in a fake story. They read between the lines without trying, and that natural insight makes dishonest people deeply uncomfortable. What unsettles others even more is that Sigma males don't need to confront or accuse anyone. They can expose a lie just by staying silent. Their eyes alone can say, "I know." And that quiet knowing is far more powerful than any argument. It puts dishonest people face to face with their own reflection. But this gift of truth isn't just about detecting lies. It's about the way they live. Sigma males value integrity, not because it looks good, but because it feels right. They don't pretend to be perfect, but they refuse to fake what they are. And that level of authenticity makes their presence magnetic. People trust them even when they don't want to, and fear them even when they have no reason to. The truth has a frequency, and Sigma males vibrate at that level. That's why they attract loyalty from the genuine and resistance from the deceitful. They remind people, simply by existing, that truth can't be faked, and that's what makes their silence louder than most people's words. Number 3. They represent what most people secretly want to be. There is something almost unsettling about the calm power of a Sigma male. He walks through life without needing to announce himself, yet people can't stop noticing him. He carries a rare mix of freedom, power, and peace that most people secretly crave but can never quite reach. It is not about showing off, not about rebellion for attention. It is about moving through the world on his own terms. You can see it in the way he chooses solitude over fake company, silence over meaningless talk, and truth over popularity. He is free, not because he owns everything, but because nothing owns him. He doesn't chase validation, yet his very detachment draws it in. People admire that kind of independence. They wish they could detach from opinions, walk away from nonsense, and still feel complete within themselves. At first, that admiration feels pure. People want to learn from him, be around him, understand him. But the more they realize they can't control or fully read him, the admiration slowly turns into envy. They begin to project their insecurities onto him, accusing him of being cold, arrogant, or detached. The same qualities they once admired become the ones they attack. The truth is, Sigma males represent a version of life most people want, but are afraid to live. A life where peace is louder than noise, where confidence is quiet, not performed, where being yourself doesn't require permission. It takes strength to stand alone in a world that constantly tells you to blend in. And that's the paradox of the Sigma male. He never asks for attention, but his way of living demands it. He becomes a mirror that shows others what they lack: freedom, self-trust, inner calm. And for many, that reflection is too uncomfortable to face. So they admire him, envy him, and sometimes even attack him, all because he embodies what they secretly wish they could be. Number 4. They don't flinch when excluded. Most people fear being left out because they tie their worth to belonging. They crave inclusion, approval, and the comfort of being part of something, even if it means pretending. But Sigma males see through that illusion. They understand that inclusion often comes with invisible strings, silent expectations, and subtle forms of control. So when they're left out, they don't flinch. They simply carry on, unbothered. Exclusion doesn't hurt them because they never depended on the crowd to define who they are. A Sigma male knows that solitude isn't loneliness, it's clarity. He uses that quiet space to think, rebuild, and observe. While others panic about losing connection, he finds strength in being free from the noise. And that kind of calm self-assurance frustrates manipulators, because one of their favorite tactics, making someone feel isolated, completely fails on him. Manipulators thrive on emotional reactions. They want you to chase them, to prove your worth, to beg to be included. But when a Sigma male doesn't react, their power dissolves. They can't guilt him, they can't shame him, and they can't lure him back with empty promises. His peace becomes a silent rebellion. What most people don't realize is that the Sigma male never truly feels excluded, because he doesn't measure connection by proximity. He connects through depth, through truth, through meaning. If it's missing, he'd rather walk alone than sit among fakes. That's why exclusion is never punishment for him. It's liberation. It saves him from wasting his time in circles that drain his spirit. The Sigma male's independence teaches a quiet lesson. When you stop fearing rejection, you stop being controlled. And that's what makes him untouchable in a world that runs on approval. The moment exclusion loses its power over you, no one can manipulate you again. Number 5. They intimidate without intending to. There's something about a Sigma male's presence that unsettles people, even when he hasn't said a word. He doesn't try to dominate a room or seek attention, yet somehow eyes turn toward him. His calm feels heavy. His silence feels sharp. And that quiet intensity can make insecure people feel strangely exposed. It's not that he's trying to intimidate anyone. It's just that his energy carries a certain truth, a mirror that reflects what others try to hide. People sense his self-assurance, and it forces them to notice their own lack of it. They see how he doesn't need validation, and it reminds them how addicted they are to it. They watch him stay silent in situations where most would scramble to speak, and suddenly their own noise feels nervous. To the Sigma male, this is simply how he exists. He doesn't see himself as better. He's just comfortable being alone, being quiet, being real. But to others, especially those who rely on attention to feel valuable, that kind of self-contained confidence feels like a threat. His stillness exposes their insecurities without him meaning to. In group settings, he doesn't compete for dominance, yet somehow he shifts the balance of power just by being there. His calm energy says, "I don't need to prove anything," and that's what makes others feel like they have to. People start over-explaining, performing, or trying to impress him, without even realizing why. The irony is, the Sigma male isn't trying to make anyone uncomfortable. He just refuses to wear masks. His presence is a silent reminder of authenticity in a world built on performance. And authenticity always intimidates those who depend on illusion. That's why his silence feels louder than words. It's not the Sigma male's intention to confront people. It's their own reflection in his calm that does. Number 6. They don't participate in herd morality. Sigma males don't move with the emotional tide of the crowd. They watch it. They study it. They see how easily people can be swept up in feelings that aren't truly their own. Most people follow collective emotion like it's a compass. If everyone's angry, they're angry too. If everyone's celebrating something, they join in, even when they don't fully understand why. But Sigma males are different. They don't mistake noise for truth. They don't let the volume of a crowd decide what's right or wrong. This detachment often makes them look cold or disconnected. People wonder why they don't immediately jump on trends or take loud sides in emotional debates. What they don't realize is that the Sigma male isn't indifferent. He's discerning. He takes time to see what's really going on beneath the surface. He questions the motive behind the movement. He knows that outrage is often used as a tool to control attention, and sympathy can be used to disguise manipulation. So he pauses. He observes. He thinks before reacting. That pause alone unsettles people. In a world where everyone rushes to show how caring or involved they are, silence looks like rebellion. But the Sigma male doesn't care about appearances. He cares about truth. His moral compass isn't shaped by popularity or public emotion. It's built on clarity, integrity, and quiet logic. What others call unfeeling is actually emotional mastery. He refuses to be pulled into chaos just to prove he has a heart. He knows real empathy doesn't require a crowd to echo it. And that's what makes him stand apart. While others lose themselves in emotional storms, the Sigma male stands still, clear-minded and grounded. He's not moved by the herd's emotions. He's anchored by his own understanding. That's not coldness, that's control, and that's exactly why the world doesn't know how to handle him. Number 7. They break unspoken rules without breaking morals. Sigma males have a quiet way of breaking rules, not the ones written on paper, but the ones society never dares to question. They're not rebels looking for chaos or attention. They're truth seekers who simply refuse to follow anything that doesn't make sense to their spirit. They live by their own internal compass, and that compass often points in directions most people are too afraid to explore. Every society runs on unspoken rules: what to say, how to act, what's acceptable and what's not. Most people follow these codes automatically because it feels safe. They trade authenticity for belonging without even realizing it. But Sigma males notice these invisible structures, and instead of obeying them blindly, they ask, why? If a rule limits honesty, freedom, or personal growth, they walk right past it. Not loudly, not dramatically, just with quiet certainty that they're not here to play someone else's script. What makes this so unsettling is that they do it without losing their integrity. They don't break rules to shock people, they break them to stay real. Their rebellion is rooted in conscience, not ego. And that's what confuses conformists, because deep down, everyone knows how many of their rules are just fears wearing masks. To the Sigma male, moral clarity is more important than social approval. He'd rather be misunderstood for doing what's right than praised for doing what's popular. That's why his defiance feels different. It isn't fueled by pride, it's guided by principle. When others see him questioning what they've spent their whole lives accepting, it makes them uncomfortable. It forces them to confront how much of their obedience is habit, not belief. Sigma males don't follow to fit in. They walk their truth, even if the path is lonely. And in a world that worships conformity, that level of moral independence is the purest form of rebellion. Number 8. They don't engage in superficial rivalries. Sigma males see competition differently than most people. Where others measure their value by who earns more, who gets noticed, or who wins some fleeting social battle, Sigma males measure only what matters to them. They don't compete for status, ego, or approval. Their rivals are not other people. They are their own limits, their own fears, and the obstacles that stand between them and their goals. This approach makes them appear detached, even indifferent, in situations where others are desperate to prove themselves. In offices, social circles, or even casual settings, people often thrive on comparison. They need to see themselves as better than someone else to feel secure. But the Sigma male doesn't play that game. He doesn't feel threatened by someone else's success, and he doesn't need to show off his own. That calm disregard for pointless rivalry unsettles those whose self-worth depends on always being on top. To a Sigma male, energy is precious. Wasting it on meaningless fights or shallow competition is a waste of life. He chooses focus over friction, results over recognition, and growth over applause. That choice not only keeps him ahead quietly, but it also makes him unpredictable to others. People can't manipulate him with jealousy, envy, or social pressure because he doesn't care about their rules of comparison. In a world obsessed with measuring status through competition, the Sigma male stands apart. He isn't better or worse than anyone else. He's operating on an entirely different level. His life is guided by his own purpose, not by who can outshine whom. And that kind of detachment, that refusal to be drawn into superficial rivalries, makes him both enviable and threatening. People sense it instinctively. Here is someone who cannot be controlled by the petty games that define most lives. That is the quiet power of a Sigma male. He doesn't compete with the world. He transcends it. In conclusion, when you walk in truth, every lie in the room will feel exposed. Being a Sigma male is not a label, it is a state of awareness. You see the world as it is, not as it pretends to be. You sense people's intentions, read unspoken energy, and move with a calm that others can't fake. That awareness is what makes you powerful, but it is also what makes you a target, because your presence alone disrupts illusions that others depend on to feel secure. You're not targeted because you're aggressive or loud. You're targeted because you carry something most people lost, the ability to stand alone without bitterness. You don't rely on approval to know your worth, and that kind of inner peace makes insecure people restless. They test you, question you, and sometimes even isolate you, not realizing you've already made peace with being misunderstood. The truth is, Sigma males don't seek control or domination, they seek alignment. You move differently because you think deeply. You speak less because you understand more. And you choose solitude, not out of pride, but out of clarity. That's real strength. That's real power. So if life has ever made you feel like your calmness or independence is a flaw, remember this. It's your advantage. You were never meant to blend into the crowd. You were meant to see through it. Keep walking your path with quiet confidence. Let your peace disturb the noise, because the world doesn't target you for what you lack. It targets you for the truth you carry. Thank you, watching brothers.